Okay, are we on? Oh, the heat's kicking on. Hi, everybody. Hey, welcome to this week's Zazoo Plazz report, January. It's the 27th, but this is for the. Let's call it. Yesterday was the 26th, right? That would have been my granny's 123rd birthday. Me and Zazoo. Leslie here, Zazoo Plazz. Here for my weekly report. Third Sunday, ordinary time, whatever. And oh, look what I got. I started to talk about this last week, but I get so distracted. I lost something. Okay, I got two of these. So if you haven't seen these online on Amazon, these little things, I feel like I'm like a psychic or something. I'm like I need my crystal ball. So okay, so it's really funny because I always had thought that I would order, a headband like that. And I think things are coming together because, I went online. I said, well, I need to listen to music in bed, you know, and working out so I don't bother anybody. Like, I need, what is it, 10:30 at night? Okay. I said, oh, I found these. They're great because I can't stand to have like earbuds in my hair. They're going to fall out. I'm going to swallow one while I'm eating, sleeping or something. So I found these. See? You can't make this stuff up. I said, where were these things back when I was running and I had my phone? I had one of these little belt things. And I had my phone, and then I had like my mic, I had Bluetooth thing that went around my neck, and then I had the kind that went around. They never, I'd get out there and I'd lose the signal, and they wouldn't work. I went through so many headphones, earbuds, So I found this. So they've got, like you just turn it on here, you can charge it up. It's got a USB thing. And the little ear, they're very thin. Little like, little like ear little thingies. And it's all connected with a wire. You take it out and then you can throw it in the wash, right? So anyway, so I said, great. So I bought this one for sleeping because it matches the, like I've got a blanket that my kid gave me that's kind of got all like the astrological signs and everything. It has Scorpio in the middle. And then I have a desk mat that's kind of like this, only it's got like trees because I work at night. So I said, great. And then I got a black and white one. It's like marbly black and white. And I wore it to run. It was great. I took the speakers out, washed the thing. Then I go to, set it out for tomorrow for my run. I can't find the damn thing. Like, I know I put it in I have like a little mesh bag, that I wash all my little socks and underwear in so they don't fall out. So I have 3 little separate bags. I know I put it in there. It probably fell out of the bag or something, and it's probably in the laundry room. I tore the place apart looking for the damn thing. I couldn't find it. So it's got to be in the laundry room or something. But whenever I lose something, I feel like a part of me is, missing. I hate that. I mean, it was only like $20, so, and it occurs to me if I buy a new one, then I'll probably find the old one, but I'll have an extra set of speakers in case I lose something. They should sell them with 1 pair of speakers and 2, well, they do sell those, but I'll figure it out. These are the kind of things that drive me nuts. They distract me from my most important work. But this is part of being on the planet, on planet Earth, But it's comforting to read, Bible stories, because then you read that there were, the prophets and all these holy people. They were people, they lost things. They stubbed their toe. You read these Bible stories, and they're like But they didn't write about all that stuff. They just wrote about, you know, the stuff that they thought was important. If a woman was writing those stories, she'd write down what they had for dinner and how, the kids were acting up. And did she, she lost her, whatever, her good shirt or her good cloak or something happened and ripped and she had to sew something back. These men writing these stories, they're leaving out all the juicy details. That's why there must be some stories written by women that, that has all the juicy stuff that everybody wants to know that they didn't want to get out there. Anyway, that's what I'm just saying. So that's my role. I'm part of the whole body, and it's important that people know these little details about life in the 21st century. And that's what I'm here for. Anyway, and to keep your sense of humor going. Show off my socks. Look, I got this first time I'm wearing this. Another one of my Savers purchases. I found a shirt to go with it. Added to my plaid shirt collection. Leslie plaid check. And look, it goes with my pink jeans with the sparkly button. Anyway, let's get to it, Zazoo. Stop it. Okay. Get to the point. Get to the jokes. All right. Anyway. My mother-in-law used to do that to me. My mother would go like this. My mother-in-law, maybe it was a Polish thing, but she used to go, like she'd do this and or she'd give me one of these, Anyway. Anyway. Okay. Third Sunday. Oh, so I gotta tell some little stories before I start. I talked about Granny. I wrote about her on my Facebook page. Every year I think about her, and it's 5 years since I published my book. And I put on Facebook a picture of when you write a book, you self-publish, you get a first draft that, it's got a big stripe across the cover, so it's a draft, and that's what, it's a paper draft, and you look at it and you see, does the formatting look right? Does everything look right? You get a digital, draft. But thrill in holding your book for the first time, I can't even explain it, So I kept that. And then I happened to look, I think my former spouse, he pointed it out to me too. He said, look at the date and the inside back cover. And it was January 26, 2020. My first, I actually launched the book on February 29th. I got my first copies, I think it was somewhere around mid-February. But the actual first draft was printed on her birthday. I mean, she's long gone. She passed in 2004, I think. But yeah, I thought that was funny because the last chapter in the book was sort of, in honor of her. It was all about my Granny Bilodeau, my dad's mom, who was, how she was born in a sod house in South Dakota, kind of like, Laura Ingalls Wilder. That was kind of her, her life. She was like Laura Ingalls. She gave me the whole set of the books, and we Gen X girls, we read the books when we were little in the 70s. And even before the TV show came out, there were the books. And I read them all. And I remember even after I could read, I would ask my mom to read, a couple paragraphs from like Little House on the Prairie or Little House in the Big Woods or, any of the books. There was Farmer Boy for the boys. I had the whole series, and so, but the first one was my favorite, Little House in the Big Woods. So my mother would, she'd take a couple paragraphs and just read it to me and I'd fall asleep. This was when I was reading early, 3, 4. I knew my alphabet. I was reading before kindergarten, And I just quickly went through all the books in the children's section, 7 or 8. I was reading grown-up books, you know. Anyway, that's for another time. But yeah, so my grandmother, there's a lot of things that, you know, still stories to be told about her and about me and her and the family. You know, there's so many. Let's see. So I told those 2 stories. Yeah, a big milestone this week. My kid, my youngest one, he's 21. He's at UConn. He's finishing up his last semester, his senior year. He, you know, he got his truck. He got a Ford truck, 1996 F-150. It looks like it's got a little rust on the back, but he's probably going to work on it. You know, he just got it. His dad took him to the DMV, registered. You know, it's ready to go, and he's standing, you know, next to it, all proud. And yeah, so that happened this week. I don't know when I'll ever get a ride in it, but I'm sure the girlfriend has already had a ride in it. So that's important. So anyway, um, yeah. And I'm making quiche this week. I got myself a fancy schmancy, one of those pans with the holes under it. I'm having a ball. See, the guys never liked quiche, you know, because real men don't eat quiche. There was a book by that title. Go look it up. In the early 80s. So somehow it got into popular culture that men didn't eat quiche. It's an omelet in a pie crust. It's all that it is. It doesn't have anything to do with being a man. But, you know, it's not steak and potatoes. So, yeah, I got a note from my college roommate from my sophomore year. We were both business. She's accounting. She's an accountant. She and her husband live out near San Francisco. Her cat was the one who was now just, you know, run out of his lives. He's gone. But her cat, she had her cat pose next to my book, copy of my book. So that friend, um, yeah, she's very supportive of my writing and stuff. But she brought up the fact that it's you know, it's Chinese New Year, and um, that she's actually a dragon because she was born in December the previous year, but she was in our class, and she said, "No, you're a snake, though. You're a snake." So I'm going to wish everybody happy Lunar New Year. She's Japanese, though. She's Japanese American. So what I found out was that I guess the Japanese do the regular New Year, you know, like we the solar New Year. But it's more like the Chinese, you know, Korean, Vietnamese cultures, among others. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, that celebrate the Lunar New Year. But she's, you know, she's into all that. You know, she celebrates in a general way, you know, like I do. But my son's girlfriend, she goes to Yale. She's in Italy right now. She's an art. She's studying art. So, but she's Vietnamese descent. So, you know, I texted him. He's like, "No, I'm not gonna see her. She's in Italy, so we're not gonna celebrate this year because they've been going out over a year, I guess." But I said, "Well, I guess you know I'm gonna have some noodles this year because noodles are good. They're like snakes, you know. It's good luck. There are certain foods like dumplings, noodles. I think fish, whole fish, a bunch of other things. You know, it's fortunate and wear red, I guess, and don't clean on New Year's Day. I like that. So anyway, get to it, Zazoo. Anyway, you're getting. I digress. But that's how you know it's me. I'm not an imposter. Anyway, um, all right. Reading the first reading. Nehemiah. Say that 3 times fast. Nehemiah. Nehemiah. Um, apparently, he was some kind of a governor. This is the book of the book of Nehemiah, the Old Testament. So we have he was kind of like a leader, an agent from God. You know, he was you know apparently he was some type of an administrator, Nehemiah. Um, so it's kind of this story where you know there's there's people who are agents from God, can be working in, um, regular institutions in society to kind of move things along, and still this is true, I think. Much as some of us doesn't resonate with us to, work in the traditional brick and mortar type of world, there are still people who are moving certain of those institutions forward, and can do so with a higher perspective. So not everybody is gonna, you know, abandon ship, so to speak. Some people are to be found in all aspects of society, you know, having a more higher vibration, if you will, helping to, move things along. So then we have in this reading Ezra, who's one of the old priests, reading the law, to the Jewish law to the people, right? So standing up in the synagogue and reading it, and he says he stood up on a wooden platform, so like the altar, and he's saying, you know, he's saying, oh, reading, um, yeah, see, reading to, or was that the next reading? Oh, that was another, uh, yeah, or was that the gospel reading with the people? Yeah. Okay, so he's reading to the men, women, and the children old enough to understand. So that's interesting as far as the song of the week. Um, so I think of that as like children. We all, you know, God speaks to us as as to a child, right? Spiritually, when we start to understand what's going on, to get it, we have to have the open mind, of open heart of a child, right? We have to forget all that other crap that we learned and get back to, like kids are very open. They're like sponges. You can tell them things, and, so I think that's kind of what they're getting at. People are like crying. They're hearing the law being read, and they're crying that, in other words, you can be responsible. You can hear, the word. You can hear it with an ear of, you know, God. God has our. You can read it as, oh, I've got to do. I can't. I've got to sacrifice. No, God wants this. Earth is a place that we should be enjoying, and we should be, in gratitude and rejoicing, right? That God has put us here to enjoy everything that, to not deny ourselves. You're saying, don't cry. Those are lower emotions, right? He's telling the people, don't be afraid. Don't feel guilty, because that's a lower energy, right? So this is for us today. The more positive. Share your food. Yeah, eat rich food, drink sweet drinks, share with everybody. So this is kind of a metaphor. If you all of us are, partaking. We all have gifts. We all have things to share. Whatever you think is sweet about life, it doesn't have to be food. It's a metaphor. Share that. Whatever makes your heart light up, right? Whatever makes you smile, share that. Right? Tell people what you think is to be, it's great about life, and it'll spread, right? So, and we have your words, Lord, or spirit and life. And those are the things that, fill you up, satisfy you, right? You ever have a meal, and you're hungry 10 minutes later, half an hour later, whatever, you know what I mean. Um, this is a nourishment that lasts. It satiates, right? Um, the worldly things leave us wanting, leave us hungry, thirsty, right? It's temporary. But the things of the Spirit last, and they keep, you know, they keep going. They last a long time. They carry us through. They give us strength. So there's first book of Corinthians. Uh, that's the one about the body being one but having many parts. I thought that was interesting. So not one, you can't say there's another metaphor here, for all, not just being the Gentiles or the Jews or at the time they were trying to communicate and use simple metaphors that people could understand, right? So talking about the body of Christ in the Spirit, right? In the Spirit that comes down on all of us. We are of the Spirit. And just like you can't say the nose is more important than the ears or the mouth they're all important. And when one part is hurting, it affects the rest of the body, right? It's all part, it's one working, mechanism. So that's kind of the same thing. And what's interesting is it talks about those parts that we consider less honorable, we go to greater lengths to cover up. And the ones that we consider more honorable, we don't cover up. Like our nose. We give more honor to those parts we consider, or we go to greater lengths to protect those parts we consider less honorable. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, but so it's the same thing with Christ. Christ, here that means the God Spirit, the Christ energy. So that's pretty interesting. And then, so then there's the Gospel of Luke. I'm just going to get to this quickly. Luke was written, it's funny how he starts with Jesus as an adult, like 30, right? The Lord sends me to bring glad tidings to the poor and proclaim liberty to captives. So Luke is, he's writing, it's kind of like me when I write my stories. I like to think that I'm writing to a good friend or somebody who I want to, as long as I have at least one person who I think is listening to me, I will, in my mind, address it to that person, because if it's a person I think is interested in what I have to say, that makes all the difference. And so that's what he's doing. He's got this Roman official who, is called Theophilus. It's Greek for friend of God. So this is someone that he holds in esteem. He thinks, I'm going to tell this guy, he's going to take me seriously. He's going to take it to heart. He's not going to make fun of me. Right? And he's putting it down he says, most excellent. That made me think of Bill and Ted's Adventure. Excellent adventure. Excellent. Anyway, so he's talking about, he's heard all these stories, or he's witnessed part of it. So he's got all these notes, right? Just like me, he's written all this stuff down, and he's put it in a sequential order. So he's reading about Jesus going back to his. Jesus has been getting around. He's getting well known for his speaking and his healing and his those little things that he's been doing. So now he goes back to where he grew up. He stands up, goes to the temple, stands up and reads from one of those scrolls, those little things. Just like you go to temple or church and get up on the pulpit and, like read from the Bible or something, right? He reads from the scroll to proclaim a year acceptable to the Lord. That's kind of appropriate with the lunar year. And, he reads this this prophecy, right? That the Lord has sent me to bring glad tidings to the poor and liberty to captives. Um, yeah, that goes along with the let's see, with the first one there. Um, glad tidings. These people are crying, right? He's saying, don't cry, be glad, be glad. You're free, you're free. Just anyway. So he sits down. He says, this passage has been fulfilled in your hearing, right? So yeah, it's like all these people say, Jesus from around the corner, Jesus, Mary's Joseph's son. He's saying this stuff. He's saying it's fulfilled. What is he? Who is this guy? So, but there were people who got it. Probably some people who said, "Who does he think he is? He's just like us. How does he think he's more important than we to get up there?" And no, but it was the way. He said it with authority. He owned it. He was the teacher. He was teaching them. Not all, you heard it the same way. Okay, so the song I found it was like duh. You know, Bob Seger came out with a song called "Understanding" um, from the movie. It was on the soundtrack to the movie Teachers, 1984, with Nick Nolte and Ralph Macchio, and Judd Hirsch and Joe Beth Williams. So I'm gonna have to watch that movie again because it was apparently a black comedy satire. Uh, yeah, and I always thought that a lot of Bob Seger's songs, he was talking about a woman or a relationship, but he's really talking about could be talking about his relationship with God. This is how you know, he was lost. And he thought nobody cared. Nobody was listening to him. He was confused in the dark. And now he said he realized that you were on my side the whole time, right? He's realizing God was always had his back. He's got him understanding, things that those children old enough to understand. He's old enough now. He's been through enough to realize he was always the one who was against him. God was always with him, even though all these things happened that he thought were bad, were actually happening to teach him what his role was. Where does he fit in the whole picture? So, yeah, interesting how, and just like Nehemiah, this teacher, one person can make a big difference. Can really, one person who gets it can, God can communicate with. That makes a big difference. It moves things forward, right? Even if it doesn't turn out the way you thought, always, other people don't always, catch the ball when you throw. You don't always complete the pass, but you're doing your part, and that's all you can do. And let the chips fall where they may. Um, so, yeah, it's a good song. Go listen to it. Um, I had forgotten it, but once I heard the first part of it, I said, "Oh yeah, that's a good song." So, yeah, that's all I got for this week. So, wish you happy Year of the Snake. If you're a wood snake like me, it only comes around once every 60 years. So, yeah, that's kind of cool. I don't know if it's altogether, I think I have to be kind of prudent about it. But we'll see. Let's hope for the best. More understanding about it. So, hope it's a great week for you. Go out there, have some noodles, have some dumplings, and make it a great year. A great week. I'll see you. Same place, different time next week. Zazoo Plazz. See ya.